being in a world where romance and sex are prized above everything else, when you don't feel those forms of attraction, growing up feeling that something about you is different, but you don't have the words to describe what it is. Welcome to the Burrow.
A podcast where we discuss our favourite books and have a bit of a laugh. Hi, I'm Chloe.
And I'm Meg. I use any pronouns, and I'm from Canada.
I use she, her pronouns, and I'm from the UK. So, how are we today?
I'm okay. I mean, the day hasn't started much for
Oh,
me.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the day hasn't almost ended for me, but it's like the middle. It's nearly 5 o'clock.
Yeah,
So,
so it's like,
it feels like the end of the day. I don't know, to me, like 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, it just feels like, because it's the evening, I don't know, it
mhm.
just feels like it's the end of the day a little bit. I don't
No,
know.
I get that. Yeah.
But yeah, it's only like 11 o'clock in the morning for you, I
Yeah,
think.
just about
Yeah.
in 4 minutes.
Woo.
Yeah, I
Um,
haven't really done much.
I'm very hot. My fan is on right now. I hope you can't hear it.
I don't think so. I'm not sure if that's like my laptop making noise or the fan, but it's like
Maybe not.
really quiet.
But yeah, no, it's still really hot. It's supposed to rain tonight, so hopefully after it rains, it will be like a
Ooh,
lot cooler. Because I was ready to whip out my hoodies and my jumpers and my scarf, just like everything, because it's supposed
yeah.
to be September and it's supposed to be like a little bit cold.
Mhm.
And then the UK said, let's have a heat wave. Let's have like 30, 31, 32 degrees of heat.
We love climate change.
So I
We
cried.
don't.
No, we don't. We don't. We don't love it at all, actually. I was sweating yesterday when I had to go out. I went out at like 6 p.m. and like
Mhm.
usually it's really hot like midday, like in the early
Yeah.
afternoon. That's when it's like really hot. I left the house at 6 because I went to see a show yesterday in the evening.
Yeah.
I left shut up. I
Hmm.
left the house at 6 o'clock and it was still 31 degrees when I left the house. And it's disgusting. But it's fine because the theatre had air conditioning,
Yay.
so it was great. It
Love
was
when
great.
theaters are freezing cold.
I know it was so nice. I had
Mhm.
because I brought my cardigan with me just in because I was wearing like vest top, crop top sort of thing because it was
Okay.
super hot. So like my arms were like bare and I was just like a little bit cold in the theatre
Hmm.
and I was like that's better than like sweating whilst watching a show.
Yeah. True.
That's not fun. It's not fun. But then as soon as I left the theatre, you're just like bombarded with the heat
Yeah.
again.
Oh my God.
What do you mean it's not cold? But yeah, it's fine. Hopefully next week it will get colder.
Hopefully. I think,
I
well,
can.
here it's the same. It's like really hot. Oh, no, I think right now it's not bad. It's slowly cooling down.
Mm,
But yesterday it was like 25 or 22, which to us is still
I
hot.
I would kill to have even 25. I won't lie to you.
Yeah.
30 degrees is not it.
Well, not for September, obviously.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, where was this in summer? Like, you had your chance.
Exactly.
I don't even like the heat anyway, so I don't like summer, but it's fine.
But now it's fall, and we can wear sweaters and hoodies.
Yes, I'm so excited
Hmm.
um, for my beanie to make a comeback because I've missed her. I've actually missed her so bad. I've she's been with me for I think like 2+ years now.
Oh
You
my
know,
God.
she's a good one.
Hmm.
Trust her. But yeah, also I saw a show yesterday.
Hmm. You're like destroying yourself. Why are you doing that to yourself?
Okay, so the thing is that it's so good
Hmm.
and it makes you just emotional damage, right?
Yeah.
But then it's also so good that it just makes me so happy how good it is.
Hmm.
That like I'm not even by the end of the show, I'm not even like sad. I'm just like, wow, like what the hell did I just
Hmm.
watch? Like, did I really just witness that? But yeah, so you don't know what I'm talking about, but yesterday I saw this really cool show called Next to Normal in London for the third time. Um,
Hmm.
and I have 2 more trips planned next week.
They went to see it 5 times. Oh,
I mean, I won't lie to you. After I came home last night from it, I was like, so what if I just like try to see if I could get another ticket? But
Don't do that.
I was like, I can't. Because basically I'm leaving for university on Saturday.
Mhm.
So I was like, I need to cram it in as much as I can.
Yeah, but you also don't
But
spend all your money.
I still have a lot of money left, don't worry. I don't know why I'm bragging about that.
Hmm.
But it's fine because I'm also getting paid at the end of this month.
True.
Okay. Um, but yeah, no, because I am a sensible spender, so like I have my theatre addictions, we know this.
Hmm.
But like I know when to stop. Like I
Okay.
actually do. Like if I had no money, like if I had like like not enough to like be living on and stuff, like I wouldn't
Yeah.
do. But I do, so I said why not just give myself some self-care for once in my life. So apparently next to normal is
I
self-care.
don't think that's self-care. Next normal is like, mm,
I don't
not
know
good
why.
for you.
I think the one of the main reasons though that I keep going back because like I watched the show and I'm like I need to hear that person sing it like that again because that was like insane. But like I don't want to listen to it. I want to like experience it again.
Yeah, I get that.
You know what I mean? I don't know. It's just I feel like because I used to listen to Next to Normal actually a lot. I was really weird. When I used to revise my GCSE exams, I used to just listen to musical recordings, but then I wouldn't really get any work done anyway. And
Hmm.
Next to Normal was one of those that I just like always listened to during that time
Okay.
for some reason. Um, and I feel like back then I didn't really understand the story
Hmm.
because I feel like with some musical soundtracks, you can listen to them and you can be like, oh my God, like that sounds really cool. Like that music is really like cool and really been like made well. But like I think with Next to Normal, it's one of those where you have to actually see it to actually realize the full like kind of scope of it all.
Yeah.
There are, I mean, I'd say it's kind of the same with Les Mis. Like if you just listen to the soundtrack, it can kind of get a little bit confusing. Like you have to actually see Les Mis in
Yeah.
person to actually understand how it all like ties in together. And I feel like Next to Normal in a way is kind of the same.
Hmm.
But
I
yeah, so
wish.
I'm realizing by the
Mhm.
time this episode comes out, I would have seen my last Next to Normal show, and I think
Mhm.
I'll be at university by the time this comes out.
Yeah, you'll be at university.
So yeah, that's fun.
Hmm. I'm so scared for university this year.
Why are you scared? This is my last year. You still have
No,
another year.
it's not that. It's the one course I'm taking that is just like where I told you about it. I told a lot of people about it. Um,
Mm.
I am head of a department in the backstage, so I'm either head electrician, head of sound,
Oh
master
my God.
carpenter, um, props coordinator. I think the title is, or costume coordinator, or production assistant. I think it might be one more, but like it's a lot of time commitment. Hold on,
Fun.
let me get something out real quick.
Mm.
So I was able. I don't think I'm supposed to have this actually, but
Mm.
my professor from last year, I was talking about a course I wanted to take because he's teaching it. I'm in it now. And I'm like, do you think it's possible for me to take this course and also this course at the same time? And whatever we're talking about schedules and stuff. And he gave me the production schedule for the show. And it's just like, I'm not sure if you've seen a production schedule before because you're not a backstage person, but
Mm.
production schedule, so much going on.
Yeah, I think you're gonna have a very stressful time, but I feel like at the same time it's gonna be really cool and good for you to do.
Yeah, but when it gets to like November, like the month of like where the show is, like a few weeks before, I will have like 12-hour days at the university.
Well, preparing you for, if you go into it when you're outside of
Yeah, but
university.
I also have a job and two other courses, which my two people who were in the same class last year, one of them is in my both of my courses. And they're like, why are you doing this to yourself? Why are you taking two more courses? I'm like, I'll be fine. I want to graduate by 2025.
Well, I
So
wish you luck.
I'll be fine.
No, I believe you can do it.
I'll
I
be
think
okay.
I think obviously it will be stressful and it will be a lot, but I think at the same time it will be good to kind
Mhm.
of do an experience.
Yeah, it'll be
So yeah,
fun.
woo. That's our lives then, I guess.
Hmm. If you follow me on Instagram, which I don't think a lot of people, because I have a private account, but I will be posting tons about my play, and yeah,
Yay.
it sounds
That's
good.
actually exciting.
I wish you could come see it, but
Fly
you're,
me. Fly me over.
the tickets are so expensive. They're like $1,000.
Don't speak to me about that.
Actually, I think just a one way isn't that bad.
Because as well, because I randomly looked at it a couple weeks ago, and the thing is, the actual time isn't that bad. The reason why it's actually so long for me to fly from here to where you are
Mhm.
is because I think first you have to go to Toronto and then you get off, but then you have to wait at least like 5+ hours
Mhm.
for the next plane. So it's not like it is actually that long. It's just the waiting in between that makes the
Yeah.
whole journey longer, which is just annoying.
Well, yeah,
But
you
it's okay.
can't go straight to my city because we're
Yeah,
smaller.
yeah, no, exactly. It's fine. We'll get there someday.
Someday.
I don't know when, but yeah. What else do we have to say?
Mm, I don't know. I mean, there's just a lot going on. I mean, that job I talked about, I'm starting in eight
Oh my God,
days. So
that's so exciting.
that'll be fun. The job is working in theater as box office, which I'll get like free tickets to shows,
That's so good.
which is fun. I think our shows this year there's Clue, Sound of Music, which
Ooh.
is like a classic. Um, The Carol King, I think. I don't know the
Oh,
rest of
the
them.
Carol King musical.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah, I know it.
Hmm. I don't know much of the others, but it'll be fun.
Yay, that's cool. That's really cool, actually.
Theater.
We love to see it.
Hmm. I think that's mostly it. I'm just
Okay. Funsy, funsy funs.
hmm. I love
Should
how we've stopped like doing the like book quote of the week thing. It's just like
yeah,
not
I was gonna
happened.
yeah, I was gonna say, like, I don't have a book quote of the week,
Mhm.
but recently I've been reading this really cute asexual book, and it's asexual fairy tales that I got from
Oh,
this like queer bookshop in London,
mhm.
and it's really cool. It's basically, I think I'm almost finished. It's quite small. It's like
Okay.
a collection of kind of well-known, okay, not well-known like Disney, but like fairy tales and like like tales from like mythology, like stories like that, that
Yeah.
the author thought had like kind of asexual um origins or like an asexual feel to it that she related
Mhm.
to.
Okay.
So like she kind of rewrote them out to like show the asexual kind of side to
Oh,
those fairy tales. So it shows that like you don't have to be just like allisexual to have like a
yeah.
nice story or like whatever. But yeah, no, it's really nice. I'm really enjoying it.
Oh,
So that's my book quote, I don't
I
know, for
love
the
that.
week.
I've
But yeah,
been wanting to read books recently. I just like I pick it up, I read like a little bit, and then I'm like, I don't want to read right now.
I get you. I actually get you so much.
Yeah. Or like I'll put it in like my bag to read it like get somewhere, and then I just don't read it.
Yeah, I mean, I won't lie because I've been going out so much recently. Whenever I'm
Hmm.
on the tube, I just pick up my book and I just read it. Because as well on the tube, there's no signal, so it's not like I can listen to my
Oh
music anyway.
yeah.
So it's nice to just like sit and just like be able to read it, or like on the train or the bus.
Hmm.
So yeah, I've been going out a little bit recently. No
I've
need
been
to,
going just to university, so
and we love that for you.
mhm.
But yeah, do we want to,
Oh yeah, we can get started. Let me just. I want to close my door.
you
So
want to
just
introduce
yeah,
or shut up?
I
Yeah.
can introduce it.
Woo.
This episode we're talking about aromanticism, which I feel like isn't talked about enough in media or anywhere, and there's so
Lit-
many stereotypes that just need to be cleared up, and
lit-
they're not always right.
literally when I was researching for this episode, because I did a bit of research into like books and media,
Mhm.
there's hardly anything on TV or film, and I'm like, geez, because I think about this a lot because I think society, as a society, we act like romantic relationships are like everything, and that the only way for you to be fulfilled is for you
Mhm.
to be in a relationship,
Yep.
which is why like me at like 20, I feel so shit because I'm like I've never been in a relationship, but I'm
Mhm.
like it's fine if you haven't.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, society, because like a lot of storylines are revolved around like romance and
Yeah.
like love interest and stuff,
Mhm.
which is great in like certain situations. But when it comes to like someone being aro
Mhm.
and they see that like all the time on their screens, they're just like, oh, so is this how it's supposed to be? Like, why am I
Yeah.
not feeling that? Why am I not like in a relationship?
I want to
So,
actually mention a quote from
mm,
Heartstopper season 2 actually.
oh
You
yes.
know the scene where it's at Elle's like art show and that one person like Isaac is looking at the art thing of all the hearts and the things and someone comes up and is like, "That's my art piece." And the
Yeah.
quote I want to say it's like for exact wording, being in a world where romance and sex are prized above everything else, when you don't feel those forms of attraction, growing up feeling that something about you is different, but you don't have the words to describe what it is, but then freedom, the euphoria of freeing yourself from those pressures and expectations, which I feel like works for a lot of people in the LGBTQ community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that quite a lot.
Hmm.
And from all of Isaac's storyline in season two, like you can tell that Alice gets it and that it's coming from like Alice's own
Hmm.
kind of personal experiences and feelings growing up and then like coming to the realization
Yeah.
that they were Ace and Aro.
Mhm.
So I think that's really cool. Because like I said, like I did a little bit of research. Obviously Heartstopper is on my list.
Oh yeah.
Um, but there's hardly any TV or film stuff. There are actually quite a lot of books I found, which
Mm.
I'll talk about a bit later,
Okay.
which I'm adding onto my to be read list because they sound really cool. But yeah, I just like I know we talked about asexuality a little bit ago, and we were
Hmm.
like, that's hardly ever talked about. But I think
Yeah.
aromanticism is like even further down, and people like
Hmm.
mock it. I think even more
Yeah.
because they don't understand, because a lot of the time what people don't understand they like fear or like they hate, um but yeah.
Mhm. And actually, like talking about asexuality, aromanticism is actually like very commonly linked with asexuality. So a lot of people are the term is aro ace.
Mm,
So usually they are both. They're aro ace. Like not all the time, obviously. But a lot of
mm,
people identify as aro are also ace. Yeah.
yeah, but then also a lot of the time people make assumptions like if, for example, I was to tell someone I'm asexual, they'd be like, oh, so like you don't love anyone, you don't want to be in a relationship with
Mhm.
anyone. Or like if someone says they're aro, they'd be like, oh, so like you don't want to like have sex with someone, or like, do you know what I mean? Like there's those
Yeah.
options if you're like aro that you are also ace, or if you're
Mhm.
ace you're also aro, which sometimes can happen because they're similar, just they're different types of attraction. One is
Yeah.
romantic, one is sexual. Sometimes they like overlap into each other, and some people who are aro are also ace, but then sometimes it's also like a little bit separate as well.
Yeah.
So I mean, like we said this all the time in the Ace episode. It depends on the person
Yeah.
because like it's I mean, like being asexual, aromanticism is a whole spectrum,
Mhm.
which links into this because I actually found like the little areas on the spectrum that I wanted to
Mhm.
talk about,
Oh, okay.
which I
I
didn't
also
actually know
did
about.
research on that.
Mm,
Mhm.
look at us go doing a
Mhm.
little in-depth research.
Before you do that, I want to show the definition of aromanticism.
Yeah, yeah.
Aromanticism is basically a person who has none or lack of romantic attraction towards another individual.
Yeah, good job. So these are like a few that lie under like the ARO umbrella. So
Mhm,
ARO is more of like a broad term, and then you have like more specific terms.
mhm,
And it's pretty much similar to the little terms that you have under asexuality as well, but just like for being ARO. So you have grey romantic, which is someone who rarely experiences romantic attraction, but can in certain situations. So this one is kind of, it lies in the middle between romantic and aromantic. So you're kind of like in the middle. You sometimes can, you sometimes might not. It's just a kind of like in the
mhm,
middle situation. You also have demi-romantic, which is like with demisexual people, they need to have an emotional connection in order to experience romantic feelings.
mhm.
So they need to like be really close to that person and like have that really like emotional close kind of connection with them in order to
Yeah.
actually develop romantic attraction or feelings towards them. And then these down here are ones that I didn't actually know existed. So this is kind of interesting. Lithromantic or
Mm,
Aero-romantic, I think is how you pronounce it. So these are people who can feel romantic feelings towards others, but when it's reciprocated, they no longer feel the romance or the attraction. So like essentially they get like the pleasure from their own feelings, but they don't want or like need anything in return, like anything
mhm.
reciprocal, which
Okay.
I thought was interesting because I didn't actually know about that.
Yeah.
Um, and then the last one is recipromantic, which is those who need their romantic feelings to be reciprocated. So
Mhm.
basically the opposite of what I just talked about.
Yep.
But yeah, those were the main kind of more specific ARO terms that I found. Um, and I also found out the meaning of
Oh, okay.
the flag colours, which we love. Google told me. So the green is for the ARO spectrum, so like the whole kind of spectrum.
Mhm.
The white is for platonic love and friendship, which we love. The grey and the black is then for the sexuality spectrum. So that's the ARO flag.
I want to mention two um identities that you did not mention, and I also want to mention a certain type of relationship that
Mhm.
is usually specifically for queer people. The two that I found were romance repulsed, which is kind of like in the name. Someone who is repulsed by or adverse to or dislikes the idea of romance and participating in romantic activities and relationships. And then the other one is romance neutral, someone who is like neutral to the idea of romance and participating in those activities. So yeah,
Oh,
like it was kind of like maybe like gray romantic, so it's like kind of in the middle,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and like it's fine. The thing I wanted to talk about, like the other thing, was queer platonic relationships.
Oh my God, yeah, this is literally next on my list.
Yeah, queer platonic
Our
relationships.
brains.
I think I was like kind of in one for a little bit.
Wait.
Yeah. Because my friend, I'm not gonna say their name, mentioned the idea of like queer platonic relationships. I think in our case it just didn't work out because queer platonic relationships, they take like varying forms. Sometimes it can be in a way where it's like what's the friends with benefits sort of thing,
Mm,
or sometimes it can just be like platonic relationships that are like very queer focused and it could seem like a relationship but it's not,
mm.
and things like that. I don't know, you can explain it more because I feel like you have more information on it.
Not a lot more, but from what I found, also, it's kind of the way I'm understanding it as well is it's kind of similar to polyamory in terms of
Hmm.
it's different. Every queer platonic relationship is different depending on the people involved and like the boundaries and like whatever they're
Hmm.
comfortable with. So what I have is that queer platonic relationships are outside of like having a romantic partner, like that binary,
Hmm.
but also outside of the friendship binary. So it's
Yeah.
not necessarily a friendship, it's not necessarily a romantic relationship. It's kind of like in the middle. It's a bit more intimate than a friendship, but it's not romantic as well.
Hmm.
So it's kind of a mix between a friendship and a romantic relationship
Yep.
without like the elements of the romance, I'd say. Um, yeah, and then it also says that it may include sex, but it may also not include sex,
Yeah.
obviously, depending on the people again. Like, it just depends on the people because everyone's
Mhm.
different. Everyone on the who identify as aro experience have a different experience to one another,
Mhm.
depending on like if maybe they are romance repulsed or maybe they're a bit neutral, maybe they only experience it if they have a close connection. Like it's just all kind of varying on the person, I think. Um, yes, I also have this note, which is oh, so I found this article from Stonewall that had like a ton of aro misconceptions and like
Mhm.
stereotypes in it. So I can list off a few. I'm sure you have some as well, and you can expand on some of it
Okay.
too.
Yeah.
Um, oh yeah, so this is what I talked about earlier actually. The first one was that not all aro people are asexual, they're separate although similar,
Mhm.
which we talked a bit about already. And then the second one, which we talked a bit with queer platonic relationships, is aro people can have relationships because romantic relationships aren't the only relationships.
Mhm.
So platonic friendships as well as the queer platonic relationship. So platonic friendships are meaningful and loving as well as friends and
Mhm.
families and platonic partners. So that is just as fulfilling for aro people as romantic relationships. And I feel like it's undermined a lot. And we talk about this a lot actually, how like in my opinion, platonic love is one of the best forms of love
Mhm.
and best relationships you can have. I think it's different to a romantic relationship and it's just so nice.
Yeah.
And I feel like we need to see that at the center of like TV shows, films, books,
Yeah.
like a lot more because it's so vital and it's just so important. And I feel like it's other than the love that you feel for your family, I feel like it's one of the first kind of love and friendships relationships that you kind of experience when you're younger because the first relationship you kind of build is a friendship when you're younger.
Mhm.
So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I love platonic love. I think people don't value it enough.
Yeah. I feel like Heartstoppers. Sorry, I mentioned Heartstopper,
No,
but
it's such a good example
it
because there's not
is
a lot there.
like it is such. It shows like, for example, is Charlie or is it Charlie or is it Nick? At one point, I think I mentioned this before, where they're like, you need multiple outlets, and I think just having friends as well, if you have a romantic partner, great, but also having friends and family there to support you as well. Like found family is such an important thing, especially in
Oh,
queer
found family.
families.
That's one of my favorite tropes in media, found family. It's just,
Yeah.
oh, it's so cute. But like even like that moment between Tao and Charlie
Mhm.
in you know what I'm talking about, season two, where they're at Paris and they do like the look and you have that flashback of when they first met. Like
Yeah.
that is so pure and that is just like one of my favorite moments I think from the season.
Yep.
It just shows their friendship and how they've come from like when they were like 12 years old and they're now like 16,
Yeah.
I think almost 17. Um, and that just makes me smile because it's just so cute.
Hmm.
But yeah, I feel like a lot of people forget. It feels obvious because you're like, yeah, my friends. You don't think it's a relationship, but like
Yeah.
anything is a relationship between people. Like it doesn't just have to have like a romantic foundation. So I
Yeah.
feel like people forget that. Um, oh, here's another one. Being aro isn't just a phase. Because I know a lot of like ignorant people to aromanticism are like, oh, you'll find your person, like you'll find someone, which is kind of like what James said to Isaac in Heartstopper.
Hmm.
And when I heard that, I was like, oh,
I thought
but
he
like
was really good. I thought he was
I
really
know.
like he understands.
To be honest, it's a thing that happens though because
Hmm.
like I didn't know about it before Loveless. I don't think I actually knew about it before Loveless, and I think everyone should read that book regardless.
Yes. Oh my God.
But to understand asexuality and aromanticism, that book is incredible because it's like Georgia is learning about it. So it's like we're on this journey learning what it is with her.
Yeah.
And I think it's just really special and you really kind of understand that it isn't just like a trend, it isn't like a phase. It's like a real thing and
Yeah.
it's not invalid, like it's a valid yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
I just think everyone should read Loveless.
I think yeah, it's such. I always promote Alice's books because
Yeah.
they're so good. They talk about issues that are not talked about enough. And I just feel like, particularly like Loveless is a good example. It goes over asexuality and aromanticism so well, and also just platonic relationships so well.
Yeah,
Like how,
yeah.
what's their name? Um, it's Georgia
Pip,
and then
Pip.
Pip. Yeah, Georgia and Pip have such a strong like friendship, and it's amazing. I love it.
Yeah, it's really
Um,
beautiful to see.
mhm,
But yeah, we have an episode about it as well.
mhm.
So go look at that
Yeah,
if
go
you
check it out.
a little,
Also,
little promotion.
that's kind of like a slide in to talking
Mm,
about like kind of characters in media that are
yeah.
aromantic. I have a list of some of them.
Mm,
First one being Peridot from Steven Universe. I
mm.
know a lot of people don't like Steven Universe as much now, but I liked it at the time, and it's a good show actually. It does have a lot of like queer relationships, which is incredible. I love it. Um, so Peridot is one of them. Anyone's a fan of the Owl House, we all know that Lilith Clawthorne is canonic canonically Arrow Ace,
Oh, yeah.
which is love it. I love Lilith so much. My third one being Georgia from Loveless, obviously. Apparently Jughead from the Archie comics, not from
Okay,
Riverdale, from the
okay.
comics.
This is what I was going to talk about, which I found out,
Mhm,
and I didn't realize. So there's been a lot of debate and controversy about this online, which I never knew about. I wish I knew about it.
mhm,
Is that the TV show completely erased his because he was Aro Ace in the comics.
mhm,
They completely erased it, and apparently Cole Sprouse, who obviously portrayed Jughead in the
mhm.
show, tried to like fight for it,
Really?
but it
Okay.
like but it didn't happen. And apparently the writers said, oh, like he's just like on his journey of like discovering him. So it was really weird. I was like,
That's
just say
stupid.
that you want him to have a romantic
Mhm.
relationship just for the
The show.
yeah. But yeah, so I looked a bit into it because I was like, was he actually like was he or is that just people like headcanoning that? Like,
No,
was
it
it
was
really?
like actually.
But it was because I saw this tweet from the actual writer of the comics, and someone asked him like, how did you write him as Ace? Did you write him as being like Aro? Because that's kind of how we see him.
Mhm,
And the writer said, yeah, he 100% views him as asexual and demi-romantic, but like
mhm.
whilst he's a teenager, just like generally as Aro. And like that would have been so cool to see like on a
It would
mainstream
have.
Netflix teen drama show. Like I
But
can't
to be fair, they did change a lot of the art,
oh
like
they did.
Archie comics.
They did.
Like it's pretty sure I'm like it's not really the same.
I don't know what
It's his
Riverdale
own
became.
thing.
Yeah, I don't know what Riverdale became. I stopped watching after like season 4, and it just I don't know what happened to it. I have to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But like the first two seasons were good, and I think from what I've heard, the first season was a little bit accurate to the comics. But
Hmm.
yeah, I can see why people are really upset by that. Because it was just like completely erased,
Yeah.
and really spoken about again, which was a bit sad. But yeah,
Yeah, I
that's
haven't watched Riverdale, and I don't
it's
plan to
actually
watch Riverdale.
it's actually fun if you
Mm,
watch the first couple of seasons because it's kind of it had like that Pretty Little Liars feel in the sense that it was like a group of teenagers like solving stuff together and it was like a mystery and it was
mhm.
like oh like I love those sort of like teen drama mystery shows. Um but then they just started writing weird stuff and I was just like why am I still
Yeah.
this? It turned into like a Marvel show at one point.
No.
They did some multiverse stuff. They introduced Sabrina into the show, some witchcraft. I don't know. I didn't watch those seasons, but I saw clips and I was like, yeah, I
Does
didn't know
make
what was
sense.
going on. Yeah, but it's okay because now we have a Aero Ace character on a Netflix
Yeah.
teen drama, so it's fine.
I love
But
that.
yeah, I just think we need more because there's just like not a lot.
Hmm.
I think that's just really upsetting for Aero people because it's like there's still people growing up watching stuff and probably the only teen drama thing that they're watching that they can see themselves in is Heartstopper, which is great. But like
Yeah.
some people might not be watching that. There's I don't know, it's
Hmm.
just there
It's
needs to
not
be
everyone's show.
Yeah, no, exactly. Um, I haven't. Do you know what I still need to watch is The Sandman? Because apparently, like everyone is gay in it, and I need to watch it. It's like
What?
it's a fantasy show on Netflix. I think it was made by Neil Gaiman. And sorry. And I still need to watch it because apparently it's really like queer and it's fantasy, which I love a bit of fantasy. So yeah, I still need to watch that. It's still on my watch list.
What's it called?
The Sandman.
Okay,
Yes.
I'll go
Um,
down.
okay, yeah, so I was going to talk about some books
Mhm.
that have some Aro themes and characters. So the first one, obviously, is Loveless by Alice
Mhm.
So Small. We love her. We love the book. Um, and then there's a few that I'm going to list that I didn't actually know about and that I'm definitely going to add onto my list to read because they look very cool. There's one called Tarnished Are the Stars, which is written by Rosie Thor, and it's like a sci-fi fantasy sort of
Mhm.
thing. Which is nice for it to not just be in like a teen drama kind of thing, and you can have it in
Yeah.
like different genre, which is really nice to see for people who are like more fantasy readers, which I definitely am, so I want to
Mhm.
read that. There's a book called Summer Bird Blue by a Cami Dawn Bowman, I think the name is. Um, I think I'll try and send it all to you, and then we can like link it in the description so people
Okay.
can like find the books. There's one called Hazel's Theory of Evolution.
Mhm.
There's another sci-fi book called The Last Eight, and then the last one I have on this list is called Baker Thief, which is it's a fantasy again. And what I found out about it when I looked at it a bit is that all the characters in the book are actually on the Aero spectrum,
Oh.
and it totally like reframes the romance trope, and it's just so that sounds really cool. I think that's like so cool to have all your
Yeah.
characters being Aero and just like seeing all the dynamics between them. That would be really cool. So yeah, those are the books that I kind of found that have Aero characters, Aero sort of like storylines in them, which I was surprised by because I didn't think there were actually that many out there.
Mhm.
But that's like a lot more than I originally thought, which is really nice.
Yeah.
Let's see. Um, oh, another misconception that I have, which is very controversial and debatable in the community, is that Aero people are part of the community.
Mhm.
They may face different societal barriers and forms of discrimination, but they're still like 100% valid and part of the community,
Yeah.
just like sexual people are. And I know that's like super controversial too. But yeah, just
Mhm.
because you don't know a lot about it doesn't mean like they're not welcome in the community.
Yeah.
It's I think it just comes from a place of like ignorance and just not knowing enough about it, which is like understandable, but then go do your research, go find out
Yeah.
that don't just like make assumptions and then
Mhm.
just like discriminate when you're already in the community, so you know
Yeah.
like to be discriminated against. So I think that's definitely a big one
Mhm.
where people just like kind of undermine it and they're like, oh, you don't like love? Like, what's that
Mhm.
about? And it's just, yeah, I think it's not nice. It's really
No.
weird. But we're here to say that aromantic
Yeah.
people are valid and we love them so much.
Mhm.
Yes. I think another one I found actually, which I just looked at now, is that aromantic people aren't emotionally immature and they are
Mm.
capable of
Yeah.
feeling human emotion just like romantic people are. And as we've already talked about, romantic love isn't the only form of love.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Yeah.
I think those are the main like misconceptions that I found that a lot of people assume about
Mhm.
aromantic people.
Also, I feel like there is also another like assumption with aromantic people and asexual people is that a lot of it comes from like trauma or stuff like that,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
sometimes it can, like, obviously, but also at the same time, it's not, a lot of the time, it also is not, it's not
no,
dependent on that factor. They are
yeah.
just asexual or aromantic.
The way I always think of it when, especially when it comes from within the community,
Mhm.
I'm like, example, a gay person or a lesbian person, you're gay and you're a lesbian because that's just how you're wired. That's how you were born. That's just how your attraction lies. That's like just who you are as a person. Same way as aromantic people. That's the way they were born. That's the way they're wired. They're just not inclined to feel
Yeah.
that type of romantic attraction, or um they're not inclined to feel that until like a certain point
Mhm.
or a certain situation happens. It's literally the same exact thing, but it's just a different type of attraction and it's
Yeah.
just like a different way. So yeah, I don't know. That's the way I kind of think about it because I'm like, in a way, every kind of sexuality and like attraction based kind of label in the community, you're
Mhm.
all the same in the way that this is just you. This is how you're wired and it's how you feel and
Yeah.
it's the way you're just like your attraction works. It's just that it works differently. Like gay people are
Mhm.
different to lesbians because of who they're attracted to and stuff, but it's like the same kind of principle in the way that this is how you are. No one
Yeah.
made you this way. No one
Mhm.
turned you into being this way. You just are because
Mhm.
that's who you are. I don't know.
Exactly.
It's not very complicated, but I feel like people overcomplicate it a lot.
Yeah.
If you don't understand it, that's fine. Like I didn't understand Aromanticism at first. I was like, what? And then I read Loveless, and then I did a bit of research, and I was like, oh, okay, like
Mhm.
cool. Um,
That's why you listen to our episodes so you can learn a bit more.
yeah,
Also,
and
I
that's
want to
great.
promote someone that I watched, or two people that I
Yeah,
watched, to learn a bit more.
is this
First one being The Side Guys with Corey.
uh,
Corey's incredible. I don't remember his podcast partner, but The Side Guys is an incredible podcast, and they go over like,
it's a really good podcast. I love it.
yeah, different topics and the science behind it, such as aromanticism, and it's
Mm.
really good. The other one I watched was a YouTube channel called Spacey Aces.
Oh, that's cool.
I will do a little like info thing and like link them in the description. And they mentioned a site called Aurea, which is a site with info on aromanticism. So if you want to like learn more about it, you
Mm.
can go on the site, and I'll also link it in the description and stuff. And it's spelled
Yay,
Aurea.
cool. Yay. Um, let's have a look. What else do I have? So I think also on Stonewall, I think it was, which by the way, Stonewall in general is just a great site.
Yes.
Learning about just like every like little identity and like just everything in the community and
Mhm.
how to support people and things like that. So definitely have a look at that.
Yeah.
They had a list of where is it? I lost it. They have a list of like common characteristics
Mhm.
that a lot of ARO people have in common. So a few of them are that you can't relate to romance books or movies,
Mhm.
which like I'm thinking about Heartstopper again, but like if you look back on season one, that line Isaac has when he's like, I want to believe in romance, like that, and then you look
Oh,
at season two, like that's been planned since season one
oh
when you
yeah.
look back at it. And like I hoped that was the direction it was going in, but
Mhm.
that's like that line in like particular, like he reads all of these romance books and stuff in the hope that he can like connect to it,
Yeah.
but he can't because he's just like not wired that way. And that's like one of the things that AO people kind of share with one another. Another one is that they don't typically, when they're growing up, have crushes, and sometimes
Mhm.
like pick up one just to like fit in with everyone
Yeah.
because especially when you're younger in high school, I know definitely at mine, like romantic relationships and romance was like everything. Everyone
Yeah.
was talking about it in like some way or form. So I would just like ARO people growing up in that environment, I feel like has got to be super like probably like suffocating and just like not
Oh
really
yeah.
nice. So like they have to kind of like fake it to feel like they're at least a little bit normal or like they kind of fit in with that
Mhm.
environment, I guess. Um, yeah, so those are a couple of the characteristics that I found from Stonewall.
Mhm. yeah, it's really just there's so many stereotypes with it, which I feel like they need to be broken down. I feel like also just aromantic people. Well, I don't know. We need to have like I'm not sure if there's been like videos online, like like the videos where it's like Jubilee. Jubilee is not great. I don't support like Jubilee, but things where it's like aromantic people talk about like their own experiences and how like they're different because they're all different. Everyone's experience with sexuality is different, and you know, not everyone's the same. Like for example, I got a little note about how because a lot of people assume people who are either asexual or aromantic don't want to have like like get married or have a family and have kids, and like some may want to do that, some may not, but some might want to do it, and so like it really
Yeah,
doesn't matter.
yeah, like some area people like raise kids with like their platonic
Hmm.
like partner or like their really, really close friend.
Yeah.
And like that's cool. I
Mhm.
think that's cool actually. I love that. I actually really love that. Yeah, I think people's just like what's the word? Preconceptions of like what marriage is and what raising a kid is kind of needs to like shift and change
Mhm.
as like our understandings or like sexuality change. Like way back when, I mean, I think probably still even now, people are like, oh my God, no, two men can't raise a baby, two women can't raise a baby. I'm like, well, watch them because they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's not wild at all to think that two people who aren't romantically involved can raise a kid. Like
Hmm.
it's not wild to me. Like it's not that like out of proportion to happen.
Yeah, like it's not it I don't even know how to say it. Just people need to change their mindsets, really. Like I bet probably before like two women um took like took care of a kid together and like raised it, but they
Mm,
weren't like together.
yeah,
Like they weren't said to be together, and people were like, "Oh, it's fine, just two friends taking care of."
yeah,
But once they got into a thing where it's like they were together, everyone's like, "You can't do that."
yeah. You're gonna like what's the word? Be damaging to that child. They're gonna think
Yeah,
that's gay. I'm like, shut up.
yeah, exactly.
Yes. Yeah, no, yeah. Some people need to be less ignorant.
So real.
We talk about this so much. I'm just uh um oh my gosh.
Daisy, Daisy,
Hi.
Daisy.
I swear every time I see her, she just looks so depressed.
I swear she's not depressed.
I
Daisy.
know.
She just woke up. Also, more about romanticism in media. Like it's slowly getting better in like books and TV, but us being theater kids, I
Oh,
don't
don't.
I
Yeah, there's.
don't know of any plays or musicals that have aromantic characters in them. There probably
I,
are some.
I don't think there is, or if there is, which I actually spoke to about my tutor about this when I was talking about representation in theatre. She was like, it probably has been done, but like as a friend show or as like a show that's gone under the radar and not one that's actually had like popularity.
Yeah. Um, I'm just seeing now. I'm searching it up. If there has been, um, I really don't know. Like a lot of theater is still like heteronormative,
Oh yeah.
even though, even though like most actors or people in theater are queer.
Yeah.
Like it was said by Neil Patrick Harris in one of the Tony Awards. Like people either queer, Jewish, or something else. But like Yeah, most
You know
people in
what
theater are
you know
pretty.
what the thing is that I'm thinking about, particularly with musical theatre, is what I'm thinking about at the moment, is
Mhm.
that most musical theatre shows have a romantic plot or have like a love interest in it. Like
Mhm.
9 out of 10 times, that's at least part of the musical theatre plot. Um, yeah. I mean, even just thinking about Next to Normal, because I saw that yesterday, there's
Yeah.
like, there's a romantic plot in it, which is actually really cute, I won't lie. But I think majority of musical theatre is a lot of romance based.
Yeah.
Like you have the love interest,
You're
like with this show, or like just a play
there.
that has a romantic element in it and has that like the forefront of the show.
Mhm.
But yeah, I don't know. Not yet. Maybe soon. I don't
You
know.
should write a play that has aromantic or asexual characters,
I'm trying. I'll try.
please. And then I can direct it here, maybe
Mm,
at our fringe.
okay.
Because I want things like that to get spread around more.
Yeah, see that's the thing. Like okay, every time I keep circling it back, but every time I've seen the Next to Normal show, after I've watched it, it's there's something about the show that just like reignites like my passion or like my fire to do something as impactful as that.
Yeah.
That every time I see it, I'm just like, oh, I want to do it. But like at the moment, it's not like a creative burnout per se, but just my ability right now to write something. My brain is like just not braining, and it's
Yeah.
like frustrating because it's like I have all this stuff in my head, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I can't put it down. I know it's in my head, and I know I want to do something, but it's the thing of like having to actually sit down, plan it out, and figure out how to even like do it.
Mhm.
But like, yeah, it's fine. I'll get there.
You'll get there. It's okay.
You'll be the first to know. You'll be the first to
Oh,
know.
please. Good.
But yeah, fingers crossed we can see some more like Aero stuff, specifically in theatre.
Mhm.
Um, we hope.
Hopefully, crossing our fingers.
Yeah.
And
Um,
if anyone has like any like plays or things like in media that we haven't mentioned that have aromantic characters in them, please like put them in the comments on YouTube, or maybe we can do a question on Spotify
oh yes, yes,
of
yes,
it,
yeah,
or also just you can DM us on like Instagram or something and be
yeah,
like, here are these shows that I
yeah,
really like that have
yeah,
aromantic characters.
yes, yes, actually, yeah. Because I feel like some things maybe we missed something. I don't know.
Maybe.
Uh, but yeah, there's not a lot of it, and hopefully, I mean, still there's not a lot of lesbian representation. Like,
No, there
still,
isn't. Oh my
you
god.
know, like this has become such a big discourse. There's so much gay stuff, but
Hmm.
actually not diverse gay stuff.
Hmm.
In terms of a lot of it is like two white men, and it's usually fetishized or romanticized. So maybe the gay representation isn't the best. More
Hmm.
recently, it's getting a little better. Um,
That's why
but
Heartstopper is one of my favorites because it has such good representation.
yeah, and also the fact that we have red, white, and royal blue,
Yeah.
um, which isn't two white men, and also Aristotle and Dante came out a couple of days ago in the US, and that's like two Mexican boys, and that's just
Yeah.
so cool. But yeah, lesbian representation is like so bad, and like the Netflix, like I think it's Netflix or Disney Plus, the curse of like a lesbian show gets like one season and then they just
Hmm.
cancel it because they're like, oh no, the lesbians, no,
Yeah.
for some reason I don't know why. But
Yeah.
yeah,
I want, and also they, for some reason, they always have some sort of theme to them. Why are they always like enemies to lovers? Or like
which,
friends to enemies to lovers?
uh,
Like, why is that like the token, like, sapphic relationship?
I don't know.
It's like a thing. Like, one of the books I read, um, I don't remember what it was called, but that one was like that. I know Shira is like that.
Is it?
Yeah.
There's a show.
First Kill is like that, kind of.
Oh my god, I actually loved First Kill.
First Kill is
Um,
good, but like,
what was I gonna say? There's a show. It was on Disney Plus. They took it off Disney Plus because streaming is so stupid. Called Willow, which I haven't watched. I really want to
oh,
watch it.
that.
I know what to talk
Hmm.
about. I still need to watch it. But apparently it was really good. I think it was like sci-fi adventure-y sort of thing,
Okay.
which I think I really like it when it's just like a normal show that isn't like a teen drama where
Hmm.
the main focus is actually like the sexuality or like the gender identity, but where it's a thing where it's just like a casual thing and you
Hmm.
have that representation and you see yourself on screen, but it's more of a because sci-fi fantasy adventure things, the main plot is the actual like the quest or like the problem within that universe rather than it being their like sexuality or like the relationships. It's
Yep.
just that comes like with the genre and the plot, which is nice. Which
Hmm.
is what I liked about Shadow and Bone and the relationship between Wylan and Jasper, which is a gay relationship, and how in season 2 of it, there's books as well, but they changed it a bit for the TV show. But in the TV show, their relationship isn't like a big deal. They're just like two boys in love with each other, and
Hmm.
that's just what it is.
Yeah.
And they just go on their dangerous heist, and they love each other, and that's great. Um, yeah. I feel like we went on a tangent.
I think we did, but that's okay.
Is there anything else you want to say?
I don't think so. I will be putting like all the links and stuff into like the description and the little info cards.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
thank you for joining us for our episode
Mm.
where we talked about aromanticism. Um, yeah, so I'm gonna put a Q&A box up on the Spotify. So
Mm.
when you finish this episode, there'll be a question box. I'll probably write something like tell me some of your like aromantic favorite like things that you've watched or read,
Hmm.
or just write anything that you'd like to in there. Just so we know a bit more about it. So in our next episode, we are going to talk about Solitaire
Yeah,
by
someone.
because someone asked us to do it, and I was like, yeah, it's one of our favorite books, so
Mhm.
of course. So Solitaire is about Tori, and I know a lot of people have watched our Heartstopper episodes, so I feel like if you haven't read Solitaire yet, you definitely need to. It gives a lot
Yeah.
of like backstory, and that's like the first beginnings you see of Nick and Charlie in the Osmanverse before Heartstopper was created.
Well, I think yeah, actually, Solitaire was made like I think Solitaire was Alice's first book,
Yeah, I
so it
think
was
it was.
before like everything else.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, not
yeah.
before, like it happens like
Not in the timeline because
yeah,
Solitaire
First Stopper
happened.
starts before Solitaire happens.
Yeah, so Solitaire, Nick is in year 13. Is this right?
Mhm.
Yes. So
Yeah, I think
yeah,
so.
so Solitaire, Nick is in his last year of school, and Charlie is in year 12. Year 12. No. Yeah,
He's a year
year
younger, so year 12.
year 12. Okay, cool. He's yeah. So timeline wise, it is a bit later than we're seeing in Heartstopper,
Mhm.
but timeline wise of when Alice wrote it, this was the first book, and then from this book, she was like, "Oh, Nick and Charlie, that's like a cool dynamic.
Mm.
What if we looked at what that looked like before that
Mhm.
point in Solitaire, which is cool."
Yeah,
Um,
and then Radio Silence happens a bit after Solitaire.
yeah, so Radio Silence happens when Charlie is in year 13,
Mhm.
right? Yeah.
I believe so because little spoiler for Radio Silence.
Oh yeah,
Um,
wait, we've done an episode on it, haven't we?
no, we
No.
haven't yet.
Oh, okay, we will. It's
Anyway,
okay. We can
yeah.
talk about that when we
Um,
get to that.
I will put all the stuff in the description, like our Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. We have other things, but we don't use them. Um, oh, and this will be posted on YouTube like a couple days after
Mm-hmm.
it's posted. I get really busy,
You're a
but
very busy
I
person.
I do post them. So watch out for that. And then yeah,
Cool.
if you wanted emails or anything, which we don't really get emails often from people. But if you want to, our email is the.burrow.pod@gmail.com, and we'll respond like as fast as we can.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool.
So we'll see you all in the next episode.
Bye.
Bye bye.